What is happening, everybody? This is Cody, aka DFS Prodigy, coming to you with Dustin Shelton. We're here breaking down this NFL slate. It's a 12-gamer, of course. We're here breaking down each position: quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end. We'll go into a little defense. But how are you feeling today, my man?
I'm feeling pretty good, dude. Let's get this slate on the road.
Right. So kicking it off at quarterback, we'll start with Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Top three priced quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, obviously the price to 8-3. How do you feel about his matchup against Chicago, man?
One of the best matchups on the slate. You got a poor Chicago Bear defense, uh, and you got him at home. I don't know what's going on in Chicago. Houses are getting raided, facilities are getting raided. So they just lost their defensive coordinator. So that defense is going to be, I would believe, in shambles. And what a worst matchup you could think of with Patrick Mahomes. So I think at home Patrick Mahomes is a really good option this week.
Right. I even saw like some of their equipment got stolen in Chicago apparently last game. Like people were driving the buggies out
I
off the
mean,
field. I mean, it's
it's
wild.
it's Chicago. Does that surprise
It's
anybody? It's
wild.
Chicago.
It's wild. But like I said, like you were saying, this is one of the greatest matchup he has on paper, at
Yeah.
least. At 8-3, you have the stacking options with Kelsey. It's obviously a no-brainer at 8-3 to play him if you want to spin up. But Josh Allen's right there at 8-1. So is Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson 7-7. Josh
Well, the
Allen,
one thing about I'm sorry, but the one thing about Mahomes that does worry me though, it might be so much of a blowout. He might not get much run in like the fourth quarter. That's the only thing that worries me.
right. I'd much rather pay 8-3 for Mahomes than go to 8-1 for Wash or for Josh Allen. Right now,
Mm,
I'm just waiting to see more out of Josh Allen, especially on the
yeah.
ground. I mean, 3 attempts, 6 attempts. The rushing's not really has been there for him like it normally is. So for me, I'm much rather go Mahomes. But Lamar Jackson at 7-7, he's
Mm.
definitely up there for my second best option on the slate over Josh Allen. How do you feel about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, man?
Alan, there's a little bit question about the cyclone coming in. From what I'm seeing, it should be gone. Mostly, it'll probably be a little bit rainy and breezy, but the rushing yards being down, they said he wants to try to be more careful with the ball. He didn't get that message Monday night against the Jets, throwing 3 picks, but um, against Washington, that's a tough front four. But their secondary has shown that it can give us some big plays, so that's a decent option. But if I had to choose, I'd probably go Lamar. He has a better matchup. He's going to be down some weapons, so he's probably going to be asked to do more. Justice Hill just got ruled out. So I believe Lamar is going to try to get some more yards with his feet. So I prefer him over Josh Allen.
I'm much of the like if I had to rank it, it would be Mahomes, Jackson, then Allen, but you should also have Herbert right here at 7-5. That's kind of the debatable portion of do you go Herbert?
Mm.
I don't mind this match at all for Justin Herbert at 7-5. I rank him in the top tier easily. How do you feel about Justin Herbert, man?
He's got a great matchup, man. This is the stat game of the week for everyone playing DFS this week. But I just played enough DFS to know every week there's that one game that everyone's on, and it winds up being lower scoring than everyone. So Herbert has a really good matchup. Minnesota's been giving up a lot of yards, but the thing that does worry me though, he's gonna be very popular. Him and his options going to be very popular. This game is low scoring. Um, One way to beat contrarian is to fade this whole game, but Fields on paper has a really good matchup against this poor Vikings defense.
Going down to Justin Fields, Tua, Kirk Cousins, Lawrence. I don't mind going to Tua whatsoever. 7,000, you have Tyreek Hill. That's an obvious stacking option for you in a bounce
Mm-hmm.
spot against when he played New England. Kirk
Mm-hmm.
Cousins, 6'9", obviously another stacking option you can go to. He's throwing the ball over 40 times a game. Trevor Lawrence, though, how do you feel about this kind of tier of Justin Fields, Tua, Cousins, and Lawrence?
All right, Fields and Lawrence are two of my favorite plays this week. Fields, everyone is kind of off Fields right now, but he's come out and said to me the last 2 weeks, like, I play too conservative, playing kind of robotic. I think he's kind of saying, like, without saying, like, I want to get back to what I was doing last year. And I think this is going to be the spy because I think he's going to be behind because I think they're just going to get killed by the Chiefs and he's just going to be playing catch up. And during the whole time, I think he's going to go back to doing what he used to do. Cousins at 1 o'clock. You can't. He's great at 1 o'clock. But like I said earlier with Herbert, this is one of the games that if it does go under, I mean, you can benefit by fading it. But This Chargers secondary is not good. Justin Jefferson, I believe, will feast. Tua, not really getting much love against this Denver defense, which has shown it still can give up plays. Brian Robinson had his way with him last week. I don't see why Tua can't do the same. And Trevor Lawrence has a really good matchup. Houston is down Petrie and Stingley. That is two of their best defenders. And a nice Trevor Lawrence Jags passing stack is really entertaining, especially at low ownership with everyone stacking Minnesota and LA.
Right. I wouldn't mind going to Trevor Lawrence, but the guy I do want to go to is Dak. This is a great matchup against Arizona. I mean, this Arizona defense is obviously not really the greatest on paper, but Dak
Mm-hmm.
at 6, I'll take him all day against this pass defense. He's one of my favorite options in the 6K range. It would either be him or I would be going to Jared Goff with the St. Brown news we need to watch for. Deshaun Watson, 6-1. I know you like him. How do you feel about this 6K range?
Dak has the easiest matchup on paper, but the Cardinals have been a little bit competitive, and Dallas have been playing lights out. The loss of Trayvon Diggs is a big deal. Is a huge deal. I don't think it's going to affect this game. Maybe down the road, yes. But for fantasy wise, Dak has a really, really good matchup right here. I do worry the same thing about Mahomes. Do they get so far up ahead they just start taking the air out of the ball and just running down the throat with Pollard? Golf has the Atlanta defense has been a little bit better than people would expect. So Golf, he has a decent matchup. I don't love it. I see St. Brown is playing, so he does get his number one receiver back. So he's a decent option right there. I love Deshaun Watson. Tennessee's run defense is good. Their pass defense is bad. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen had a field day last week. I love Amari Cooper this week with Deshaun Watson. A nice Watson Cooper stack is very interesting. I like that move.
I'm not really going to Geno here against Carolina. That defense is pretty great. Jordan Love, I'm much rather go to elsewhere. I'm much rather pay that 1,000 more for Dak or go up to Deshaun Watson 6-1. I'm not playing Mac Jones against the Jets. CD Stroud though is only 5-3 against Jacksonville.
Mm.
I do like that price tag, especially with Nico Collins. I mean Stroud, he's showing his confidence. I know he doesn't have. I know he's 0-2, but I mean 47 attempts last game. He looks good. I mean he looks good for a rookie, especially when you have now Bryce Young out, which we'll kind of get to the bottom of the range in a little bit. But I wouldn't mind going to CJ Stroud at 5-3.
I wouldn't mind either. I like that stack, as I was saying earlier with Jacksonville. I can see Jacksonville putting up like 40 points on the Houston defense. And Stroud's going to try to answer that. His weapons, Nico Collins been really good this year. Tank Dell's been really good. He's got a bunch of good receivers. Robert Woods is playing good. He needs to get oh dude man from the Cowboys last year. I can't remember his name. The tight end. Oh my god.
Colts.
Yes. He needs to get him in more involved. Can't believe I forgot his name. You kind of went over Mac Jones, dude. Mac Jones is slinging the ball, man. He is slinging it. And the Jets' run defense is pretty good. And I'm not Stevenson. I like as a back, but he's more of a receiving back.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see Jones airing it out against this Jet defense. He's really sneaky. Now, is he better than some of the upper quarterbacks that we talked about? No, but Jones can still get you 270 in the air, and he is second in the league in air yards. He has been slinging it with Bill O'Brien as his offensive coordinator.
Joshua Dobbs, I'm not going to a 5-1. I'm not going to Hall 5,000. I'm not going to Desmond Ritter.
Mm-mm.
How do you like Gardner Minshew? How do you feel about him, man?
I like Gardner Minshew. He knows his offense well. He knows Shane Steichen's offense. So he airs it out a little bit more than Anthony Richardson. And Baltimore's down Marlon Humphrey. So remember last year against your Cowboys, he threw for like 300 some yards. Minshew could play.
Right.
And if you get him and get the right pieces around him, you could have the optimal lineup.
How do you feel about Andy Dalton?
I like Dalton because, it's my team, but I like him in the passing game more than Bryce Young right now. I feel like not that he's better than Bryce Young, it's just the experience, the calmness. He can read the field better. He's a veteran. And the Seahawks pass defense is not the best. I mean, Stafford threw for 300 against them. Jared Goff had a good day against them last week. I can see Dalton have a pretty decent day throwing the ball. The question is the receivers getting open because I think Carolina's got one of the worst receiving cores in the whole league. So a lot of checkdowns to probably Hayden Hurst or Chuba Hubbard.
Go to running backs, man.
Mm-hmm.
Eckler, knowing it Chubb. Aaron Jones is questionable, but Tony Pollard is up to about 8,000. I love the matchup for him. Like we said, it could be a
Yeah.
blowout. I mean, Tony Pollard, he's getting it done. I mean, he's certainly getting it done. I like him at 8,000. Then we have Brian Robertson at 7,800. Or Bijan, my bad. Bijan at
I,
seven
I was
eight.
about to say,
Yeah, my
I was about to
bad.
say, Brian Robinson had a good game. It wasn't that good.
So Tony Pollard, obviously one of the best options at 8,000, of course. That's why he's priced up there. But Bijan, 7,800. I'm still worried about Tyler Algier cutting into his workload. That's what worries me. Is obviously this could be the week where he gets it done.
Mhm.
But still, you're seeing Tyler Algier take carries away from him. How do you feel about up top, man?
Well, Pollard to me, I feel is a safe bet because no matter what the score is going to be, he's going to get the ball. If they're up big, he's going to run it. If they're trailing, they're going to throw it to him. And if the game's competitive, they're going to hand it to him. So Pollard's the safe bet of the week. I mean, if you want to pay up for Pollard, you can. Bijan, everyone talks about Algier getting into his role, but he's still putting up numbers. He's still getting his. But this one's going to be a little bit tough for this Detroit defense is a little bit better than people were giving them credit for. I said that in week one, and they held their own against Patrick Mahomes. Kind of had a bad week last week against Seattle. Old Dan Campbell's going to get them motivated, and they know that one of the game plans is to stop Bijan. So I'm a little iffy on Bijan this week. I agree with you on that one. But
I
the
think
Algier cut was workload. I'm not really worried about that, to be honest with you.
I think if you want the floor, you go to Tony Pollard. If you want the ceiling, you go to Bijan.
I totally agree.
Derrick Henry, again, I mean, we saw Spears cut in his workload also. I'm not sold on Derrick Henry still. I'd say
Mm-mm.
more. I'd much rather go to Bijan, honestly. ETN at 6'9". It's a great matchup for him. I mean, it's a great matchup.
I
He
love
has to
ETN.
bounce back here.
I'm gonna have a lot of ETN in my lineups. Henry, the Browns defense is good, man. That is one of the top 5 defenses in the league, and I think that's gonna be a blowout game. I think they're gonna start throwing at the end. That's how good I think that Browns defense is, and how porous that Titans offense. And I love Travis Etienne. That is his backfield. I don't see Bigsby really cutting into his workload at all.
So Aaron Jones is questionable, so we'll get to the Green Bay in a minute when we go to Dylan. But Jamar Gibbs, I like his matchup with no David Montgomery. I mean,
Mhm.
the workload should be all his. We might see some Craig Reynolds, but still, I like Jamar Gibbs. Stevenson, I'm not really getting to a ton. James
Mhm.
Cook, I'm not really getting to a ton. I'm not going to James Conner at 6'3" against Dallas, even with Trayvon Diggs out. It's still the front defensive
Yep.
line. Mostert, though, with no Ahmed's doubtful. So Mostert, I mean, we saw the TD last week, 18 for 121. I didn't play him in showdown when I should have. So
So,
I like Mostert again at 6,000.
mhm. I like Gibbs. I'm just going to go this one fast. I like Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
I still like Ramondre Stevenson. Uh, like I said, Mac Jones is airing it out, and his passes are going to Stevenson. I am in the differ though. I like James Cook this week.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the weather is not going to be as bad as people think. It's still going to be rainy. It's still going to be muddy. I can assure you that. I live 4 or 5 hours away from DC. I live in Virginia. It is going to be muddy. So I think Cook will get a lot of work. And it's also the day before his birthday. It's a narrative thing. I'm a sucker for narratives. But that's my thing on Cook. Pass on Connor. I'm with you. I don't think it's gonna be competitive. And also Dallas has shown you can't run on him. So no thank you to James Conner.
I do like Kenneth Walker, though. I didn't skip over him. I think this is a great matchup for him also. I mean, but Alexander Madison, Cam Akers is signed with the team. Cam Akers is not going to play this game. They already told him that he's needs to get into the system. But Alexander Madison, I'm not going to about 5'8" at all. Bija or Brian Robertson, how do you feel about Brian Robertson at 5'8"?
I like Brown Robinson. The Bills they shut down Josh Jacobs last week, but that was more game script than I think the Bills run defense because Bills got gashed week 1 with Brees Hall and in your words, a washed up Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook still had some good runs. I played Josh Jacobs last week. I wish I didn't. I think people think that the Bills' run defense is going to be good because they held Jacobs. That was a game script. So I like Robinson this week. It's going to be muddy. It's going to be messy. And let's see, who'd you say for that for Robinson? You had Madison.
Bro, I'm not going to him.
Do you think he gets? Do you think he sees that trade like, oh, you traded for him because you don't trust me? All right, I'm gonna go out there and show you.
He's a better back whenever he has a feature back in front of him. He's a better backup to me. Like whenever they need fresh legs, it's Madison time. Or they need a goal line, it's Madison time. I don't think he can handle full workload.
So you think he's like the current version of Shane Vereen from the Patriots?
Like
Yes, in front of he's better.
I think Cam Akers is going to come in. He's going to look good. And then I think Madison's going to get kind of the third down carries.
Yeah, that's what he did with Dalvin Cook.
That's kind of how I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
AJ Dillon, I mean, he's
Mhm.
seen the attempts, just the yards aren't getting there for him. How do you feel about AJ Dillon or Miles Sanders?
I'm not crazy about either one of them. Sanders, I like his matchup. Um, Seahawks are susceptible to the run, but Chuba Hubbard came in, and I personally don't like Chuba. Uh, he's done nothing in the 3 years he's been there, but he seems he's a pass catching back, and that worries me a bit for Sanders. So that'd be enough for me not to touch him.
So on the Jets running backs, I mean, all these guys are calling each other out. I don't know what to do with this running back situation, so I'm just gonna kind of stay away from it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best time to take advantage of it when people are not sure. I mean, that's the best time to jump on it. Brees Hall, I mean, he had 9 yards last week. Good grief. But that was against the Dallas defense. And New England is pretty decent. I mean, what was Cook's share last week? I didn't see much of the Jet game because that was
He
a
was
blur.
washed. He was
Fours.
washed. 4 attempts for 7 yards.
You think he's washed? You think he's just done?
I think he's done.
So Brees Hall could be a legit option right there. You think they can just put Cook, not even play Cook, if they see how bad he is?
If Brees Hall gets the carries, I don't know who's even going to get the carries at this point.
This team is just a mess.
Like it's a mess. That's like I don't know who's going to even get the carries. That's why I much rather go. I much rather go to Zach Moss. And the price tag that I don't understand is Javonte Williams at 5.5. You're giving me a healthy Javonte Williams against the Dolphins at 5.5. I'm all over it.
Uh,
I'm all over it, man. I love it.
I would too if he had Piron behind him. Piron worries me for Javante Williams. So I think Piron's pretty good.
I'm all over Javonte this week. I love it.
I like him that much. Who's played Miami? So who played Miami week 1? They played the Chargers. What was Eckler's workload in that game? We're going full on Javante Williams. Sorry, people who are watching this. We're going Javante Williams right now. Yeah,
16 for 117. And Joshua Kelly went off too during that game.
Okay, you know what? I think I'm on Javante Williams now.
Like the run defense is nowhere to be found on Miami.
No, they're not, are they?
Like Stevenson literally went off also as well for 15 attempts, 50 yards and a TD against Miami. Like I'm all over Javonte. I don't understand the price tag.
Okay, thank you, Deep Raji. I'm on Javante Williams now.
Like I don't understand. Like you're pricing him with Gus Edwards at 5.3. You're pricing him against Zach Moss, who was a backup, who was hurt.
Well, he did play good.
But I mean, and Joshua Kelly, who's 15 fantasy and 3.9, like I don't understand it. Like this is the week where Javonte Williams can go off. Like he's fully healthy, he's getting the attempts. P Ryan's like completely out of the picture almost. Like when you look at Pierre, he had 1 carry last week.
Oh,
So
but he's getting a lot of receiving yard work though.
but I mean, like receiving wise, but not running out snaps. Like the snap count's going up for Javonte when the snaps are going down for P Ryan.
They did say that they would try to work him back into it. Man, that is interesting. Well, I tell you what, you tell about Gus Edwards down there. Gus Edwards will have the field to himself. because Justice Hill's out.
Do you think Melvin Gordon's going to get into the mix or no?
No, I don't think he's. I don't think he's. You talk about someone else watched. Dude can't hang on to football.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, man. I like Melvin Gordon, but
Do you like Joshua Kelly this week at 5'4"?
yeah, I think it's a good bounce back option, especially at low ownership too. I'm a sucker for low ownership and bounce back spots. He burned a lot of people last week, and I think people don't want to play him this week.
I'm not going to Damian Pierce at 5'2". I'm not
Yeah,
going to Zeke at 5'2". Algier, I much rather play Bijan, even though he's getting some snaps.
yeah.
I'm not touching the Chicago shambles either on running back with Herbert, with Foreman, with Rojan Johnson. I'm not touching it. I'm going to let
Why
him.
do you? I don't understand why you deactivate Foreman. You paid him money to come in there. He's a good goal line back. Why do you not play him? I don't get that.
Again, it's all over the place. It's in shambles.
I don't get that.
Antonio Gibson 4-7. Like he's not getting any attempts either.
No thing. What about we need to pull people's attention to Pacheco because that was an interesting one. If you want to do this, because Pacheco is questionable. If he plays, I'm not touching him. If he doesn't, you can leave a spot in your lineup if you want to go to either McKinnon or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Because that is an interesting spot, and I prefer CEH. Because McKinnon seems to be a pass catcher back. You get a guy that'll be a lead running back in a really good game script that they get to a lead like we think they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting play if you want to go that route.
And then how do you feel about Jerome Ford? I'm not playing him against Tennessee.
No, I'm not touching a running
He's
back.
going to be chalky, but we also know Kareem Hunt's going to see some of the snaps already.
He's not going to see many stats, man. He literally – I keep seeing people like Kareem Hunt season. Like, dude, he just got there. He hasn't played no preseason, no practice, no training camp. Is he even in football shape?
We'll see.
I'm not.
New Orleans, Kendrick Miller or Tony Jones? I'm going Kendrick Miller at 4-3.
I would take a stab at Kendrick Miller 4-3 as well.
I like him.
I like him too. Fresh legs.
Mm,
Fresh young legs.
right. And
Green
then
Bay's defense is pretty decent.
mhm.
So, but 4-3 is a good little price tag. I could see him getting 10 points, 10, 12 points.
I don't mind him.
I don't mind him either.
To receiver, Tyreek Hill or Justin Jefferson. That's the biggest news. There are only 9K options. I'm going Tyreek Hill over Justin Jefferson.
Me and you both, dude. I think I talked you into that one, didn't I?
I like Tyreek Hill and I like Tua. That gives you, like I said, a good stacking option if you want to go with this game. Have Tua, have Tyreek Hill, and then run it back with Javonte Williams. I can see you.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Uh,
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I also like Stephon Diggs, even though I'm not really a huge fan of Josh Allen this week. I do like Stephon Diggs, only 8-1.
Yeah, it's like a meh, but like in the back of my mind, it's like your meh just went off for like 12 catches, $120.
Right?
I can see it. I don't know that I keep going back to it, man. It's gonna be muddy. That's the only thing that worries me.
Jalen Waddle with his concussion. We'll see how Miami takes it seriously or not. We know how it goes with concussions in Miami. You never know. So, you don't really know. But I mean, if he does play, I'm much rather go to Tyreek. If he doesn't play, we'll talk about the options when we get there.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen 7-6. I'm much rather go to him over Mike Williams. Keenan Allen's having a way better season right now over Mike Williams, anyways. CD Lamb's in play at 7-7. I'm much rather go CD over St. Brown. If I had to rank the high 7Ks over 7-5 would be CD Lamb 1, Keenan Allen 2, St. Brown 3, Jalen Waddle 4 would be my rankings. What about you?
I go Allen 1, Lamb 2, Brown 3, Waddle 4. I don't dislike CD Lamb. And not just because I don't like the Cowboys. It's that the blowout thing worries me. That worries me. Keenan Allen's going to be in a closer competitive game. I can see the Cowboys pulling like a 34-0 lead in the third quarter and Lamb's done.
Definitely possible.
That's what I worry about.
Um,
And granted, though, they have not they've been competitive and they haven't really got burned through the air. But Buda Baker is out there. It worries me, but I that's why I prefer Allen over Lamb, just because I think Allen's game's gonna be closer, and that's it.
I do like Calvin Ridley here at 7-2 over Olave at 7,000.
Love
DK
him.
DK Metcalf with the injury. I'm not really messing with it right now.
No.
Uh, Wilson 6A. I'm not going to a Zach Wilson as quarterback.
Nope.
Jared Judy at 6'5", though. I mean, the game has to be there. Like he's gonna have a bounce out back game at some point.
Mm-hmm.
6'5". I'm not really touching it either right now. I'm not really getting to a lot of the 6K range with Hopkins, Lockett, Pittman Jr.
Oh, I don't know. I like that.
Maybe a Pittman at 6'2". It's Gardner
Yeah,
Minshew. We'll see.
that's a sneaky little play. I like Pittman with Minshew. He gets a. I mean, I know Rich has been lining it up, but he gets a quarterback upgrade, passing wise. And Baltimore's missed Marlon Humphrey again, and T. Higgins lit them up last week.
I'm much rather go to Keenan Allen over Mike Williams. Christian Watson news is big. He's questionable once again. He didn't practice so far this week, which worries me a little
I'm
bit.
not. I'm not touching him against that Saints defense.
I'm not going to Gabe Davis at 5'8". I do like Amari Cooper though at 5'7". That's a
Love
great
him, Mark.
opinion.
Love him this week.
DJ Moore, I mean, he literally said himself he has no idea what he's doing, like with this team out there on the field. Like it's bad. But I
He,
mean,
he
19
was my sneaky
points
play
last
last week.
game.
I told you he was my sneaky play last week.
He looked good.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna look good this week.
Zay Flowers with no OBJ. I do like Zay Flowers here at 5'4". He seems to be the lead man over Bateman right now. I do
Yeah,
like him at 5'4".
Colts defense has been getting up a lot of yards in there. Because Ridley went off week one. Then last week, oh God, who did they play last week? Who did the Colts play last week?
The Colts
Was it oh my God, the Colts play last week?
played Houston, I believe. Houston.
Yeah, and Stroud threw all over them.
Mm-hmm.
Nico Collins killed him. So yeah, I can definitely see Zay Flowers doing the same thing.
I'm not going to Addison. He's too boomer bust for me. I'm
Yeah.
not. Terry McLaurin, I'm not getting to against Buffalo.
Mm-mm.
Christian Kirk 5'4". I'm not really going to. I would much rather go to Nico Collins at 5'3". But I've talked about CJ Stroud. I mean, that's his man.
Totally
Nico
agree.
Collins and Stroud are in connection right now. It's making leaps and bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Cooks at 5'2" against
I,
Arizona.
I
I can
like him. Only reason I like him going the birthday narrative. It works, man. It does. I'm telling you, it's the day for his birthday. It works.
I don't mind going to Marquise Brown, as bad as it sounds with Joshua Dobbs as his quarterback with no Trevon Diggs now.
I like it too.
That matchup is going to be good for him at 4'9".
I like Kendrick Bourne 5,100.
How
I
much
told you before the.
how much rather go to Devontae Parker at 3'8"?
I'm telling you though, man. I get that Devontae Parker had a really good game last week. He had he had 8 targets, but Kendrick Bourne is second in the league in air yards, and with 300, almost 400 yards. Mac Brown is slinging it, and he's going to Bourne.
Dotson to 4'9". It's cheap.
Uh,
Icing. I've always played Dotson, but it just never works out. Drake
he's
London,
good.
I'm not touching. I'm not touching
No,
Drake London at all.
no.
Elijah Moore, I'm not really going to a Cooper back. Romeo Dobbs is in play at 4'8". I will say that with no
Man.
Christian Watson. That's depending on the Watson news.
But then he'd be lined up against Lattimore if Watson plays.
That is true.
Bateman's not a bad little option. Everyone's talking about Zay Flowers. Bateman could be the one to benefit from no OBJ.
Do you like Christian Kirk with no Zay Jones in play?
No. Mm-mm. No, I actually like Evan Ingram more than I like Kurt.
I got you. Tony's questionable.
No. Get him off my screen.
Right.
I can't stand this
we
dude.
could see Sky Moore get more snaps at 4-4. We could see Rasheed Rice get more snaps. That's a possibility.
Sky Moore had a good game last week.
Finally.
Robert Woods is not bad. He seems to be getting every one of these receivers in the Houston, they just get targets.
Down here in this range, I'm much rather go to the Reed at 3.8 or Thielen at 3.9. I mean,
Yeah,
they're designing plays for Reed, man. I mean, I wrote it up earlier.
yeah,
They're designing plays for Reed to get in the end zone, and it's working. I mean,
it is.
it looked good. It looked good.
Josh Reynolds up there too at 4,200. He has taken the role that they wanted Jameson Williams to have. He's playing really, really good.
He looks good. I'm not playing the whole Marvin Mims Jr. blow up game. I mean,
No,
literally, it was luck. I hate
okay, okay. I'm about to do another narrative thing. Brandon Johnson for the Broncos. He's playing in the stadium that I think it's his pops used to play in, and he's got a lot of family and friends come to the game. The hometown narrative thing for Brandon Johnson.
Are you playing him because he caught that Hail Mary?
Nope, I'm just pointing it out. I didn't
Just
say I was
saying.
gonna play.
Just
I'm just
saying.
saying. Just saying, like, if you want a punt option to stack studs and you're just looking for like a good story or something, and you want to feel good about your decision, that's one that you can do. Another one in the 3K range I was thinking about today was okay, it was Brandon Johnson was one of them, and for the life of me, I cannot.
Touchdowns.
No, it wasn't Downs. It was oh my god, I can't remember the name. Tank Dale's pretty good at 3,600. That's not a bad look. He's getting targets like crazy.
I will say if there's no Jalen Waddle, Braxton Berrios is only 3.6.
Yes,
I like him.
I
Uh,
like him.
River
Mark him.
Craycraft is only 3.4. So it's a gamble on who you want to go to, but both those guys are going to be in play if there's no Jalen Waddle.
I can't remember the life of me who that receiver was in the 3K range that I liked. Oh my god. LaVisca Chenault. Because Frank,
3.4.
if your coach is talking about wanting you to get the ball more, that's a good sign for you. And he's about minimum range. I mean, if you want to go for a punt, you can either go Johnson or Chenault. You got one guy with a hometown narrative, and you got another guy whose coach said he wants to try to get him involved.
You playing Chase Claypool at 3.4?
No. I mean, I don't think the Bears even want to play Chase Claypool right now. And you look at
3.3.
mm-mm.
If there's, like I said, depending on the Tony news, I could see him getting more snaps.
Maybe. That's a maybe.
Let's go to tight ends. Travis Kelce, 7.2. Highest price tight end, of course. The obvious stacking option. There's not really much to say about Travis Kelce. I mean, he's going to play. It's one of your better options. But I do like Mark Andrews at 6,000 over Hawkinson. How do you feel about them three up top?
I would do Kelce, Andrews, Hawkinson. Kelce has a really good matchup this week. He got the opportunities last week, just didn't capitalize on them. I think that was just rust. He ain't played in a game. Yeah, he played a little bit in the preseason, but that was his really first real action since the Super Bowl. So I think that was just rust. Andrews without OBJ is a really good option. He kind of disappeared last year. I played him a lot last year, and he really let me down. He had one of his worst years, and it seems to me in this new offense, he's getting the ball more. And Hawkinson is just honestly, he doesn't have a bad matchup. I just like Andrews and Kelce better, but he's not really putting up the numbers that I want him to do at that price range.
I don't mind Evan Ingram with
No.
no at 4.8 with no
Mhm.
Jay Jones. I like that at 4.8. I'm not getting Nicole Komet. He's way too inconsistent for me. Njoku with Cooper back. I'm not really going to Njoku either.
No,
Um, I
new
do like
team.
I do like Laporta at 4,000. By the way, I mean he's getting the
I like
targets.
Laporta, but like I haven't seen nothing that impressed me with him. I mean, I know he's a rookie, but like,
He's playing 80% of the snaps over Brock Wright. Like the snap count is wild. How many more snaps he's playing on the field?
yeah, I mean, he is getting the workload. He's just not producing enough for me. The Jokey, I'm gonna go to the Jokey real quick. You talked about Kyle Pitts needing a new team. Do you think it's time for Njoku to get one too?
I think Kyle Pitts needs it more than Njoku does.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that one, but I think new team alert, probably someone is probably Njoku. I
I,
think he'd be much better off in another offense.
I don't mind going to Hayden Hurst at 3.8. They want to get him involved.
Yes, yes, I think with Dalton is at the quarterback, Hurst is a really good option. He's one of Bryce Young's favorite targets too.
Jake Ferguson 3-6. I wouldn't mind going to either. He seems to be filling in the role for
Mhm.
Dalton Schultz. Jawan Johnson 3-5. I'm not really going to him either.
Mm-mm.
Uh, Zach
Neither is.
Zach Ertz is only 3-5 with 8 targets. How do you feel about him, man?
I love Zach Ertz, dude. Zach Ertz has been playing really, really good. He's getting end zone looks. That's the thing. He could have had a touchdown against Washington. I don't know about last week, but he's getting a lot of targets from Dobbs. He seems to be Dobbs' favorite target.
Musgrave 3-3. He's cheap. I like him a ton.
That's
Um,
another getting a lot of snaps as well.
Chig seems to have disappeared. I'm not really getting the Chig at all.
No,
So the guy I did want to talk about that was Cole Turner. For 7 with no Logan Thomas. I mean, Logan Thomas, he's been injury prone all year. We saw it last year. I do like Cole Turner. He was a preseason darling of mine. I like him a ton at 2-7. That's a cheap punt option if you want to go to him.
yeah. If you want to stack studs, that would be a really good option, and you might be optimal in getting to the end zone in a really messy game. You're not going to want to. I think the running backs will be a lot of work, and you know what? A lot of checkdowns at the tight end, I can definitely see happening too if they want to try to differentiate it, and so that brings Kincaid and Knox in there too, because I know they're probably in that same price range as well.
I do like Adam Troutman also. I might be going back to him after the downfall 1 week. I do
Ooh,
though. The matchup's great. Like I said, it's another stacking option.
mm,
Tua, have Javante Williams, have Troutman, and have Tyreek Hill. I'm liking it.
I think I'm seeing the game you're going to stack this week.
I mean, it's 3,000. It's cheap. Like
It is,
you're either gonna pay up for Kelsey or Mark
yeah,
Andrews or get Evan Ingram, maybe Laporta, or you're gonna go down to a guy like either, like I said, go to Troutman or go to Cole Turner. That's kind of how I'm looking at this tight end range.
yeah. It's kind of where you're going to need to go. I don't see no one in the mid range of the tight ends really getting a whole lot of work ownership. Um, maybe Hunter Henry, maybe if Sauce
Gesicki,
and him are locking down the receivers, maybe.
Gesicki worries me though, like with the snaps.
And but I will say if you go to Henry, he's getting a lot of targets. He's right there. Like go look at his targets. He's getting targets. 7, 6. It's not bad.
Do you like anybody? Do you like Durham Smythe at all at 2-9?
No, he had 1 week where he got a lot of volume. I don't really trust him. This offense is not really, even though he comes from McDaniels comes from San Francisco, where they made Kittle into one of their passing options. It seems like that's not really the case. He doesn't really need a really good receiving tight end for this offense to work.
Go to defense. Cowboys defense is 4-4. And then you have the lowest at 2-2 for the Bears. Which defense are you liking, my man?
Patriots. I'm gonna play any quarterback playing Zach Wilson.
At 3-5?
Yep.
How do you feel about Lions at 3-4?
I don't dislike him. I just feel like I don't feel like Ritter's gonna put it in the air enough to get a turnover or I will say something about Ritter, he's careful with the ball because he don't throw it a whole lot. So Zach Wilson, on the other hand, he just takes unnecessary sacks. You know he's going to try to want to throw it, and I am not convinced that they can move the ball. To be honest with you, I think with the reason I want to go Lions because the Falcons show that they can move the ball on the ground. The Jets, on the other hand, I just
So
tough.
if you're playing the quarterback narrative, you have where the Ravens at 3-7 against Gardner Minshew. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's in play at 3-7. I know you like Minshew, but it's still
It
Zach
is.
Austin, Gardner Minshew, and Pittman. I mean, I wouldn't mind going with the Ravens, but
Yeah.
Humphreys being out is the big question mark.
Yeah, Humphreys being out's a big deal. Minshew could throw for a lot of yards, man. I can't get that Cowboy game out of my head last year where he threw for 300. Then he had a game like the following week he threw for like 200, and had a decent game. Minshew could play. You know he's going to want to show off to a team, That's probably going to looking for a quarterback, whether it's injury or sometime next year for a starting spot.
I wouldn't mind going to the Chiefs at 3-9 because you know the Cowboys is going to be obviously high round.
That's not a bad option. Them missing Bolton is a big deal. He's one of their best defensive players, not named Chris Jones. So that does worry me a little bit. I think the Bears are going to try to play catch up with the Chiefs. So that's the thing that worries me. I'm looking for a team that against an offense I don't think is going to do squat, or a team that's going to throw a whole lot and they'll get a lot of. I tell you what, you could go with Chargers or Vikings defense because they're going to throw a whole lot. You know they're going to. Kirk Cousins is going to throw a pick. And that Washington defense is not bad either. Josh Allen has shown he'll turn the ball over.
You're not wrong, man. Do you have any last closing thoughts before we get out of here, my man?
No, I'm rooting for this week 3 to be a lot better than the last 2 weeks. We just gotta find the right plays and avoid the bus, man. Last week was brutal.
You're not wrong, man. Like I said, this is our week 3 breakdown. You can definitely find him on Twitter. I'll attach his Twitter link in the description below. But like I said, week 3 is upon us. We'll see how this goes. Hope everybody's a great and safe rest of the night, everybody. Have a good one.